All right, boys. How are we doing? How's things?
School's coming, man. And like a freight train.
Oh, it's back, baby.
Yeah.
It's back.
Well,
Let's kick off with dad wins and fails.
Okay.
Because there's a dad win that I would like to share with you guys.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Not to be self-indulgent.
No, I want to hear your
Come
dad.
on, man.
Your dad win.
So I've been complaining a lot about my shoulder recently.
Yeah, that's right. We've been telling you to do some hangs.
Yeah.
So I've done dead hangs, and I don't think you were in the room the last time I was telling Matt this, but I did a whole bunch of like farmers carries.
Okay.
And they have like worked wonders with my shoulder.
Are you like shrugging when you do farmer's carries? Or
No,
it
just helps you like have good posture,
Sure.
and it's
Yeah.
kind of like pulling your back and shoulders down,
Pulling you back into
shape,
yeah.
quite literally. And so I'm not pain free, but I am pain tolerant.
Okay.
One might say.
Okay.
And
It's a
earlier
very
this
diplomatic way of saying it.
Right?
week, it was.
Tolerant. Okay.
But I did for the first time. I did like actual compound list for the first time in a year on Monday.
Here we go. How'd you feel?
Well, look at the camera. You catch me looking a little thick. You might have to still
Easy, buddy. I like it.
A wide lens going on over here.
Come on, let's go, man.
I am so sore. I can't explain to you. I wasn't even doing big weights. Like they were just like, you don't realize how quickly you lose it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I put on warm-up weights that like would have been warm-up weights a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was like maxing out, and I was like, oh my God.
Well, when was the last time you actually lift heavy? Or
Like over a year ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
A
yeah.
year
Over
ago.
a year ago.
They say it
You'll be in
happens.
trouble.
You start losing that sort of like muscle memory within like weeks.
Yeah.
Like if you don't lift for like 6 weeks, you can lift the same weight. It's not like you can't necessarily move the same weight, but your body's not used to it. So you obviously get fatigued faster and that sort of thing.
Plus, the older
So,
you get, guys,
Oh
the
my
later
gosh,
that
dude.
delayed onset muscle soreness. It's
yeah,
called.
it's funny. You work out. The day you work out, you're like, why don't I do this
You're like,
every
I
day?
feel
100%.
great.
You wake up the next day and you're like, oh, that was maybe I don't want to
Maybe
work
I
out
pushed
today.
it. Yeah.
The next day you're like, good Lord, what have I
can't move.
done?
Yeah, exactly.
It's always day 2
Exactly.
versus day
Yeah.
1.
It's like
It
36
is.
hours, almost 48
Yeah.
hours later, you're about to die.
Yeah.
I'm on day 5 post bench press.
You're still sore.
Well, that's my dad win. The dad win was shoulder is feeling.
You got back at it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pain
Good.
tolerant.
That's
There you
good.
go.
Pain
Free.
tolerant.
That's great,
Yeah.
Naveed.
And it's working out. All right. Well, if there's no other dad wins,
That's it. You got it, man. You won. You won today.
if there's no other dad wins, I want to kick it off with a statement. I just finished doing drop off with my kids.
Okay.
And the statement is pretty simple.
We're still in week 1, right?
Still week 1.
Still week 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to contextualize, it's this weird phased drop in that you have to do. So they're not quite full days. They're also not starting at the regular time that they would. So
Yeah.
they're shortened days and whatever.
Who came up with that?
I don't know.
Why don't we just do it like the old days or whatever? When I were growing up, it was like, you start on the Monday
you
after
start-
whatever, the Tuesday after Labor Day, and you just go.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
School.
it's 8 a.m.
Yeah, yeah.
Get in there, you do it.
Staggered drop off.
So the statement's pretty simple. I hate back to school. Disgust. Am I the only one?
As a general statement, you're saying like
As a general statement, I hated school when I was young.
I was the same way.
Hated it. And nothing cringes me out more than when I have to listen to people who yearn after or pine after like their high school days. I find it so
Like their
cringe.
peak.
Like
their
Uncle
peak.
Rico?
Yeah, when they peak.
Yeah.
Uncle Rico.
Yeah.
Throw football over the mountains.
Yeah.
that steak.
So men who are talking about like some BS like sporting achievement they may have had in
Yeah.
high school, mums who are still talking about like their old like cliques that they may have had like
Yeah.
back from their alumni
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
I think it's so cringe.
Yeah.
And so just again to contextualize, I would never go back to like high school days. It's got nothing to do with like I had objectively, if you looked at it, I played in all the sports teams, like academic grades were fine, like I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was such a waste of time looking back.
Yeah.
And this is a really controversial statement, and it's not intended to offend other people. So like anyone listening who's maybe an educator or whatever else, if you are in like, let's say like our field, like anything in the world of business,
Sure.
you would never take advice from anyone who has not been successful at doing what you're trying to achieve more often than not. And
Yeah,
the
I mean, from as a general statement.
As a general
as just an
statement.
indicator, you'd say
it's
you got to be
very
successful.
yes, it's a very generalized statement. And I think now as I've become older and I've seen friends of mine become educators, I'm like, I don't know that I'd send my kids to those schools. And again, a generalized statement, I'm talking specifically about friends
Meanwhile,
of mine.
everyone else in the world's like, they're serving us, they're educating our children. No.
100%.
I think being an educator, would be a terrible job.
Yep.
It's a
just
very
a
hard job. Man.
Like you look at like how often do you want to hang out with other people's kids?
I couldn't do it. To be clear, so
I mean that's the thing. Like you were asking them to say like take this material
Yep.
that the kids don't want to learn,
Yep.
that the parents don't want to teach.
Nope.
Teach it to kids that don't really care about you, who you are, because you're really not authority in their life at that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then wake up and do it again every day for whatever.
And it's
180
kind of
days
this.
a
It's
year.
kind of the system that's set up
It
in the
is.
U.S. that
Yeah.
makes that job impossible.
Yes.
That is a noble job to people to say like I care about helping in this stage of these kids' lives.
Education at its core is a noble job.
Yeah, but it's the system is so crazy with massive schools,
Yeah.
massive classes. To your point, every kid learns differently. It's
Yeah.
like, can we not have some better
School just feels like
solution?
school just feels like glorified daycare to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
at every age.
I would say, well, see, you have younger kids.
Yeah.
I think as your kids get older, so I've got a senior this year in high school. As your kids get older, what's really cool, especially in the high school years, is you start to see, even middle school, you start to see teachers who can recognize talent. And those teachers sometimes create a vision for your kids that they might not see themselves or they might not see in themselves. And this is coming. I was homeschooled just to set the record so everybody knows. I was homeschooled, so I didn't have that. And so like when you say like people who peaked in high school and all these things, like I wish so badly I had like a high school that I could have like I could go back to and be like, oh yeah, I played football there, I did that there, because I didn't have that. And back when I was homeschooled, you didn't get to play sports for the city.
Yeah.
So there's part of me that like wishes I had that experience
Yeah.
or that I had those friend groups that I could go back to and be like, oh, I have a friend from high school that I'm still friends with my siblings, but that doesn't count. So anyway, I say all that because I think what's really cool is like, as your kids get into high school, I think the good educators that are in it and doing the right thing, this is probably for every grade, is they can create a vision for your kid that they might not have realized themselves. Like my wife has specific instances in her life where someone told her like, hey, you're really creative. And she didn't even see that in herself until, that teacher maybe saw that in her.
Yeah.
And even my mom as our educator, she would see like, oh, Andrew has a proclivity for like numbers and math and he just gets that sort of stuff. So she would push me into those types of things. So I think as a general statement, I think to your point, like the model in which we typically have to teach our kids, because you got to remember it's governed by the state in a lot of ways.
Right.
So like they're requiring you to do these things, is relatively broken, especially in like post-industrial revolution where we don't need to put a bunch of kids in factories at a certain age and we're like, hey, we can actually
that's kind of my gripe. That's kind of my gripe with school is, and I felt this growing up, and I don't know, my kids are too young for me to see whether the current system is predisposed to this as well. And you've known me for a while. I am a dreamer in general, like when it comes to any like whatever. So I always felt like teachers and educators growing up never supported like that dreamer mindset. Everything was very much like, okay, you're going to go off and be packaged as a worker doing this, and this. And I think it's just because that's how they have been trained to do it. And it's why I don't think we really learn anything of like actual substance in school. You don't get to learn like entrepreneurial stuff. You don't get to learn about like taxes. You don't get to learn about like anything air quote useful, but you do learn Pythagoras' theorem, and you do learn trigonometry, and you do learn algebra. Like those are just like what do you do?
I mean, I think they're trying to. Like my oldest has like an entrepreneurship class.
Yeah, I think it's changed
in high school. My freshman, they have like he has a business club like that they go to school early in, so like they get to sit down and like launch these fictitious businesses. So I think it is trying to change, and I think that's actually the educators. Like they're going, who cares about a theorem that I can look up on ChatGPT now?
Yeah.
Or who cares? But like, how good is it that I know how to use a TI-86 calculator in today's world? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like all just like, and so I think we have standardized testing, and until standardized testing changes, the educator has to educate the kid against those standardized tests. So I wouldn't look at it as a failure by the educator as much as the system that's requiring the educator to teach.
Yeah, because they can't keep up with the speed of technology. They can't keep up with the speed of learning because it's such a massive institution.
And so we like a lot of our kids are at I don't want to call it like an alternative learning, but it's more of like a Montessori type learning where it's like very hands-on. They go through like 6 and 8 week projects that, they have to do all their normal stuff with math and stuff like that. But then the overarching theme of that all ties into is like more of like a thematic approach, like kind of like in real life. Like you go to work every day and typically you'll have these big themes that happen over whatever might be a quarter or 2 quarters. And these kids kind of build, and it's more focused on presentation and being able to put a thought out there or a concept out there and then defend it properly and what's your positioning on that sort of thing. And so I think there's a lot of discussion around that. And if you look to like the West Coast and you look to like, the most wealthy people in the world, they're all educating their kids in that similar vein. Like Musk started his own school, Facebook started, like all these guys have started their own schools. It's interesting because
you touched on homeschool. My wife was actually homeschooled as well. And you touched
Go Irene. Are we part of the same class if we're all homeschooled? To be honest?
I don't know. But you made a point about like your mother and how she was able to like identify like specific gifts and talents and push you guys towards it. My mother-in-law did the same thing, like with all the kids.
Yeah.
She was able to recognize which ones were musically gifted, which ones maybe were more academic as it comes to like reading and comprehension and all of that stuff. I don't know how much you're able to do that outside of it being your own specific kid, because there's studies out there as well that talk about the right age to send kids to school,
right?
And maybe some of my kind of vitriol around like this, like I hate back to school statement, is the fact that my youngest is 2 and she just started a toddler program, so a couple of days a week. She did her, I don't know if your wives do this, but like that board, which is like, I'm 2 years old, I'm going to such and such school, my teachers
answer
are this.
a couple questions.
And then and the next question is, I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
And my youngest said, not working.
She's got it figured out.
She's got
At 2 years old, she's got it figured out.
But the point the point I'm trying to make is, I look at her and I'm like, you should not be in school. I feel like society has like pressured you into thinking like, well, no, kids just go to school at like a young age.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm like, I don't.
We kind of keep our kids, like my wife does preschool at home because her mom did preschool with her and like taught her how to read.
Yeah.
So she like, we haven't really done the preschool thing.
Yeah.
With kindergarten, we kind of feel like is when school starts.
Yeah.
Because you do feel like it's just getting earlier and earlier to the point where it's like
it
it
does
is just
feel
like you said already, it's glorified daycare.
Well, I mean,
at some
it
point.
is. Anybody that's putting their kid in school, but like we have like our youngest is turning 3, and he'll go for like I think two half days a week.
Yeah.
And the whole point is like get them socialized, allow them to like,
and that's
with
the
a bunch
benefit of
other
it.
kids.
Yeah, they get used to that environment. They get used to leaving home.
Yeah,
and
then
so
they do learn their ABCs and whatever
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
and
the ABC song. Yeah.
Dad can't help with that. So.
I will say too, I want to throw this out there. My brother-in-law teaches. Shout out to my brother-in-law. But he teaches the marketing.
We were kidding about educators, by the way.
No, he actually does something really interesting because he teaches this marketing program in these high schools. So they actually get kids that are talking about business. They get to leave school to go work in businesses.
Yeah.
And so there are some programs in these schools that are like trying to get kids like out of this just regimented. It's just obviously every kid can't do that. So I don't know what the qualifications are to like get into that program. I'm sure you have to have certain grades and like apply and go through a process. But
I'll also kind of say, and again, not to generalize, like every school year is like a case by case, because like it's also dependent on what teachers you get. You're dependent on like the classroom that like your kids are put in.
Yeah.
And we've already done like meet the teachers this year, and I'm actually kind of thrilled with like the teachers that we've got for this year. You can right off the bat like tell, like there are some people who are like born to be educators and some people that kind of fall into it by accident. And it's the ones who fall into it by accident that I look at and I'm like, I'm a bit nervous to be sending my kids to you for the next 8 hours. But there are some people who are just born to do it. Like they are extremely patient and kind and great with kids. And
the kids gravitate toward those
and
teachers.
the kids can see that as well.
Totally.
And it's the same with family members. Like
I would say though, like just like the only concern I have with teachers is like teachers who try to use it as like an ideology, like war ground, like they try to push that. And that's my biggest concern is, when you go and meet a teacher and you're like, okay, just by the things I see hanging up around your classroom or the slogans I see on your desk, I'm like, this is going to be a thing. And that's where I think as parents, you have to be intentional about like, okay, what do you want your kids to, because you can't necessarily always control the environment that they're going to be in,
right,
but you can control like when they come home and you're sitting around the dinner table, like what are you going to talk about and what are you going to make sure, because, you look at all these movements on campuses and how colleges have turned extremely liberal in nearly every single way. And whether you're for it or against it, I'm not necessarily arguing one way or another, but you see these big things that happen, whether it's like these big movements that happen on campus and kids are wrapped up in it because these educators who play some role of authority in their life are giving them the latitude to do that. And I think that, like, if anything, I'd almost spin it to say educators have so much power over your kids that as a parent, you better make sure you know what those educators are actually teaching your kids. Because, 2 + 2 is going to equal 4 in any school you go to. And it should equul 4 in any school you go to.
Yeah. Did it equal in homeschool?
But that's why I had such a good proclivity for numbers. But everything else around that is actually what I would be what I'm concerned with more is like, what is that? And that's where like really good teachers, I think, are, there to elevate a kid and do whatever. So
yeah, anyway. That makes sense. And like I said, I'm kind of venting to you guys, but when it comes to like how I portray it to like the kids, I'm always hyping them up and pepping them up for like school. What, like, how do your kids feel about like school in general? Like, forget your
I mean, I would say that I'm a little bit the same way with you. Like, the day school starts is like this sad day of like, it's like, back to school.
Yeah.
And maybe for me, it also is like, I know like that means fall's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like fall in terms of temperature. I don't like fall in Cleveland because it's basically cloudy from like October to like, whatever, April.
March. April.
And yeah, so that's always like maybe more depressing. But I try to make my kids like super excited. So like we always have like a couple little things we do where, they might get a new backpack or they might get a new lunchbox.
Yeah, that is always fun. That was always fun. Like getting some like back to school supplies as a kid.
Some swag.
That was always, you're like, oh yeah, you get like a new pair of shoes because they'll run out.
So we try to still do that. And I would say this year was actually even more fun because all 3 of my high schoolers, they all started new schools. And so, like, as you could imagine, the anxiety was intense.
Yeah.
Because, like, one was transferring as a senior.
Yeah.
One was transferring as a sophomore. And then one was just, going into his freshman year. So all of them basically were starting day ones in a school. And these were very, very different schools than they attended previously. But what's cool is we're, I think, like a week in. And, from day one to now, it was like they love their school. Oh, they love them. They've already got groups of friends.
Yeah.
They absolutely love the schools they're in. And I think a lot of it has to do with the, not only the friends they're around, but also the teachers, because the teachers have like really like made transferring in at different age groups really just a positive experience for them. So yeah.
I switched in between 7th and 8th grade.
Oh, dude, that's terrible.
Like the middle of like right in the middle of middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I switched schools. And it was
like you go to school every day, like, who am I fighting today?
It was just
as an 8th grade boy.
It's just like all the movie scenes that you see, like, where am I going to sit for lunch? Like, who am I going to interact with? I knew some kids from playing baseball and some kids in my neighborhood, but it can be intense.
Were you a public school kid, private school?
I switched. So we went to Catholic school, like all grade school.
Yeah.
And then I switched to the public school in 8th grade, and then finished at the public high school.
How was that?
It was fine, man. I had a lot of fun in high school. So like I had a big friend group, and
I feel like Matt was a wild kid growing up anyway.
I can tell you some stories.
He's got a paracord bracelet on right now. Anybody who rocks a
Support my
paracord
daughter,
bracelet, you know had a crazy childhood.
That's right. Our high school,
they don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. You're ready for anything. Yeah. Honestly, that is more true than you know, Andrew. We had a huge, like I said, a really big high school. So I think I had 420 kids in my class, and this is in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So it was a big school back then.
Guys, I have a dream. Not to sound like Martin Luther King.
You have a dream.
But I have a dream. And tell me if this dream makes sense in the current climate. My dream is my kids are homeschooled. My dream is we spend half the year living in Cleveland and half the year living somewhere warm. And my dream is we have an educator that we have found, much like you find, like, let's say a nanny or someone like that. You get to interview them, you get to understand, similar to what you said, do they share the same beliefs around education and whether it's socially and economically and all that stuff. And I have a top of the line educator who can just kind of parachute in,
just travel with you and
travel with us,
yeah,
educate the kids. and I'll pause.
Because your dream's costing $500,000 a year, but outside,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it sounds like remember Dr. Evil in Therapy. He's like typical childhood. He's like he's like flying all over jet set around the world, and like everything's brought to him.
so outside of of the tier 1 childhood you just portrayed, that 0.01% of the population can experience. Let's put that aside and just say anybody can experience that. I would say, as a homeschooler, the hardest part about being homeschooled growing up is the social aspect of it. So then when you throw on not being in one location, it makes it even more challenging.
I was going to bring that up because I feel like that's part of the glue is like your kids develop friendships pretty quickly. And especially when they have a great friend, like a friend they really connect with that are like good people, good family. That would be super hard to change like a lot, or to like have them just with you and not to have it. Cause I think those friendships are important outside of the family unit,
we like being a weird homeschooler stereotype is a stereotype for a reason.
Yeah, I feel like that's gone away though.
Nah.
I feel like
go hang out with some homeschoolers, bro. And I think
I'm talking East Side homeschoolers.
West Side. There you go.
East Side, they're so much better on the East Side. Yeah,
that's right.
Maybe it's because they can't go to school anymore or something like that.
There are a lot of co-op. I do feel like there are more co-ops now.
But co-ops are year round typically, or not year round, but like during the school. So like if you're only in it for half a year, if you're doing those type of things, it becomes a little bit more challenging. But I get your dream in the sense of like,
I do too.
Your dream captures like freedom, independence, all those types of things, as opposed to, getting up at 7 because you have to be at your school by whatever, 7:45, drop off your kid, whatever the thing might be.
Yeah, but there's a way to solve that, right? You build the community.
Yeah, sure, but that's just a homeschooling co-op.
That's
just a homeschooling co-op at that point.
What are you doing half a year?
I'm in, dude. You don't have to. You don't have to convince me.
I'm just saying the cost of that teacher became a lot less expensive,
right?
If you split that
Get
between
a couple.
Well, that's what I think. They're like the super wealthy, uber wealthy, whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they're doing. Is they're hiring a couple like really good teachers.
That's my
they're getting
point.
together
It's like,
3 or 4 families.
Why would you put your, I don't know, it's no different to finding
because most people like think about the average person. You have, 2 parents both have to work, or you're a single parent, which is what? I mean, I don't know what the single parent homes are, but I think they're in like the 30+% right now. So you have that, like, they don't really have that choice.
Right.
It's like, they're just like,
I'm saying,
I want a public school system to come in and hope my kid has an opportunity in the future.
Yeah,
so like, I think you're looking at it from a different lens. Yeah, I can see saying like, trying to be intentional, saying like, if I could architect what I would want it to be, this would be the ultimate architect. But at that point, it'd be like, I want to travel the world. I want my kid to learn multiple languages. I want them to do all.
Good idea. I'm
like,
going to write that down.
You'd want all those things.
1 second, Duolingo.
But the reality is like the average, and I even say the high end average person is just like, I need to get through this week, this month, this year, and hope that my kids are given an opportunity where they can either get a higher education or they can get into a trade school and make a living for themselves. Because that's really what we're saying is like, we want our kids to be able to provide some sort of value to society post graduation.
And I think that is what the current system is.
It is
set up to
100%.
do, and that's totally fine.
Yes. Now, should you want more for your kid?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But the reality is can most people do that? No. But if you're in a position to do that, I think you owe it to yourself, and that's why our kids do this a little bit more of, I would say, an alternative track to education. We do that specifically because we're like, okay, we have the ability to do this. Yeah. It's something we care about and something that we feel is good for the world. If our kids can come out as well-adjusted leaders that are able to think through problems as opposed to just, snap decisions because you saw something posted on
one thing I
Instagram.
love about your kids' school is that they start teaching, or they start putting kids in situations to learn where their actual passions might be or their skills or their strengths might be. So like, they're like, hey, if we start failing early, you don't have to go through high school and then you go to college, you pick a major you've never done before.
Yeah.
You study it for 4 years, spend all this money, and then you go into a job and you realize, I hate this, or I don't, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. So that idea of like failing early or trying stuff, like getting out there, get it with the local business, learn what actually these people are doing every day, because your thoughts and feelings might be very different once you get in a real environment. And I'm like, that is so, that sounds like that's where the school should be focusing a lot of, right? Yeah. Not just get through this, but like, where does this fit in a society where you can actually excel? Because if you're put in a situation or a bad situation that you're not efficient, you're not effective, you're not going to excel.
100%.
So it's like there's such a focus on just obviously the testing, but so many kids go through that and they're never really challenged or never really put in a
that's my
scenario
frustration.
where
Well, that's how the teachers are. You got to remember, that's how teachers are comped, right? Like,
I
so
know.
if your class doesn't perform well on the standardized testing, the school system goes, well, okay, you obviously don't know how to teach the material. Therefore, we're not going to re-up your contract, and on and on and on. To where it's like the teachers are put like in the middle. They're saying like, they must have some drive to say like, I feel there's value in training kids, but then they're stuck between this pull of like the state saying this. You're dealing with kids who, in a lot of cases, the parents probably don't really care about the outcome. And so, like, I would say the takeaway from this should be, as a parent, you should be intentional with how your kids are being educated. And, there's obviously different levels of what intentionality look like or what you can do in terms of, whether it's social or economic standings. But the reality is like, even if your kids are going to just the standard local public school, there's nothing like you as a parent should be able to be able to influence how your kid's going to respond to the demands on them. And every public, like, I mean, outside of some very, very like, poor community public schools, most public schools in standard like suburbia, the United States, they're great. They've got awesome programs. They've got tons of extracurricular. They've got tons of sports. They've got everything that they could ever need. Yeah, so I think it goes back to, I think a common theme on this, the thing we talk about a lot is being intentional. Like knowing the decision you're making. That's right. Knowing what that outcome is going to be, and not just letting Uncle Sam or the school system dictate this is what you're going to get out of a kid. Because anybody you read, like Ben Carson, like you read those stories, and it's their moms who like just were like, you are not going to fail. Like you will do well in school.
It's an amazing story.
And you read all these guys or all these gals who had incredible, outcomes, and they grew up in like the poorest community in Chicago, the poorest whatever in Georgia or Alabama. And it's always because their parents intentionally impact their life.
So what's also funny is from an intentionality standpoint, my dad was very intentional in terms of taking an active interest in my education, but it wasn't intentional from the standpoint of some of the Montessori stuff that we're talking about. Go out and try new things and fail. I wasn't allowed to try new things and fail.
Well, you're from a community of people that typically require excellence. A's and B's aren't allowed. A's are required, and if they're not honor A's, you're looked at as a middling student probably.
And you told us your story of getting a concussion and being to throw him back out there, kid. You're fine.
Which sounds like an actual like an average white dude in Cleveland to his kid. Get back out there, you're fine.
Get up.
Well, the last thing I'll share before I kind of move into some more lighthearted stuff is the fact that I can't remember which one of you guys was talking about standardized testing, and I'm going to butcher this phrase, but like if you have a fish and an elephant and you expect the fish to act like the elephant and the elephant to act like the fish, both are going to fail miserably. Both are great at what they do. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I can't remember the exact phrase. I'm paraphrasing.
I'm pretty sure it's a Dr. Seuss book, but okay.
I think it was Mahatma Gandhi that said that. Actually, I have no idea. What about some dad hacks though? Like let's move away from some more sort of heavy opinions around that. What are some dad hacks that you guys do around just back to school in general? I'm talking morning routines. I'm talking like pickup logistics, all that kind of stuff.
We try to have some uniformity to like every morning just to kind of let the kids get into a schedule. So like I said, I think I've talked about this before, but like
how much are you yelling in the morning?
I'm trying to be better about that, but I would just be pushing the pace a little bit, like, and I probably need to chill out a little bit too.
I give a time update all the time. Like, okay, guys, 20 more minutes until we need to leave.
It's just we have like, so I've talked about this. We have breakfast. Like we have one thing for breakfast, our whole family. It's not like come down, make whatever you want. It's like we're having breakfast today. This is what we're having. So like
cereal day today, right?
It was the big, The girls are the girls are in the best mood ever. A Friday morning, they wake up, they're just kind of like flowing downstairs. They're like grabbing the cereal, like it's so funny, man. It's amazing. But so having that type of schedule,
flowing down.
We do, we have the kid. They have to get up themselves. Like they have an alarm clock. We don't go wake them up. So like they're expected to get up and get ready for school, basically.
Oh, they get up by themselves.
They do, because and it's the same thing with like the night before. I think kindergarten we help them with lunch, but at first grade, like you got to pack your own lunch. And again, we can help. They have little knives that aren't sharp. They can do all that stuff, but it just there's too much going on in the house for us to have to stop and like make everything for the kids.
Pick
Yeah.
their clothes night before.
Yeah, pick the clothes out, put them out the night before,
Yeah.
so everything's
You
set
should do
up.
that too. That would save
Me
you some time.
personally.
Yeah, you personally. That would
Yeah,
save
me
you some
personally.
time. Yeah.
But even that bothers me. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's a whole mini series, I think.
A mini
We're gonna have to talk about
a docu-series. Andrew selecting his clothes.
clothes that don't fit Andrew. What about like actual like managing commitments and stuff like that? Like we all work like a reasonable amount of time. I think your kids are older, so those sports commitments
Dude,
are
yeah,
probably
it's.
getting out of hand.
I
right?
mean, especially like football and wrestling season, and
Yeah.
like we've got, we'll be at between these two schools we go to, and we'll be at a lot of games in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
And I mean, you definitely have to understand like what's important to go, what's not important to go to.
Yep.
And as a parent, again, I didn't have the high school experience, so like I sometimes live vicariously through my kids. So like,
But your wife did, right? Like your
my
wife
wife did.
yeah.
My wife did.
Yeah.
But she
Thank
loves
goodness.
she loves to have fun with the kid. Like so, like to her, she wants to do everything she can with the kids. But yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, my calendar is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Just like every single day, it's not like I'm either rushing out of here or rushing to here because I'm usually doing something else
Yeah.
with like the kids, whether it's you have to pick somebody up from a practice or go watch a game. Like Saturday morning, we're driving to North Pickering, Ohio.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like 2.5 hours. It's like a 30 minutes east of Columbus
Ooh.
for
what?
for a football game.
Oh.
So
Yep.
yeah, my son's playing. So it's a long haul. And then wrestling is no better. Wrestling, dude, you travel all over the.
Well,
if
part
you-
of that is the school. They
Yeah,
are,
part of
they are
that's the school
renowned.
you're in.
And
Yeah.
Ohio is a huge football and wrestling
It
state.
is the tier
So,
one football and
yeah,
wrestling school.
yeah,
so
so
like they play tier one opponents everywhere. But but yeah, it's fun. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me. But yeah, I mean, it gets intense.
How do you
man. It
figure
gets
out like
intense.
the other kids? So like when you have older kids that are doing all those extracurricular activities, how do you, particularly in your household, kind of manage like, does the weekend then become monopolized by one kid? How do you guys
No,
figure that out?
we'll typically divide up, or we'll take the other kids with us. So like, my wife will be, doing something with the kids, or we'll do something with, they'll all go to the event, whatever it might be.
Okay.
But we don't really I would say we don't put too much concern on that because we try to operate our family like a team. And it's like, oh, if one person on the team is getting to do this really fun thing, how would you support that person? And that's kind of just how we focus on it. So it's never come up as an issue. Sometimes we as parents don't get to do what we want. So like this weekend, I might not make it down to North Pickerington because I want to go see him play, but my wife might say, oh, I want to go see him play, and there's a better opportunity for her to go this time versus me. So I'll stay home with the kids and we'll do the
I just look at the
typical weekend
I look at the
stuff.
schedule and map out where all the close ones are and be like, I'll do these. And
Oh,
these.
see, dude, I love the trip. You're gonna stop somewhere and
It's like an adventure.
Yeah.
It's just like a fun event for like, and then you get to talk to your kid for like 4.5 hours or just listen to whatever.
All right, who wants to do finish the sentence? I'm enjoying this. Like finish the sentence.
Okay.
As a segment. Again, I haven't seen these. I just downloaded these, so let me take a look and read some out to you. The hardest part of the morning routine is not yelling at my kids.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Getting shoes on.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh.
Getting shoes on with like, I don't know what happens between coming home from school and going to school of where the shoes go.
We
to.
lost a shoe in the parking lot today.
It doesn't even make sense.
This is so funny. I was literally looking at like a 48 shoe rack organizer yesterday that we could put in our garage.
Dude,
and I'm just going to be like, this is all that's so, because it's what's the deal?
Like you're like, you had purple Crocs on 20 seconds ago. Where are they? And they're like, I have no idea. And you're like, what happened? And like for us, we've got like that group of kids. There's 7 of them that get it. And it's like they all have their own locker. We have like legitimate lockers in
Okay.
our mudroom where everybody has their stuff. So their book bag, their coat, their shoes, whatever. And when they come home, the rule is you put your stuff away. And typically by the end of the night before we go to bed, everything's put away. But somehow like these little elves come in the middle of the night and they mess everything up, and nobody knows where their shoes are in the morning. It's insanity.
hilarious.
Bedtime on a school night feels like.
We don't really have problems with bedtime.
Really?
Like it's super
This
chill.
first week has felt overstimulating for the kids. I feel like they're just very like.
It's just because you're excited.
I think so.
Okay, like
Yeah.
the day before a vacation, that sort
think
of stuff.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
think
pop
so.
out of bed those first few days
Yeah.
typically, and they're
Yeah.
excited. Yeah,
Yeah,
3
yeah.
months from now, it'll be
Yeah.
a different story.
Yeah. The best dad hack I've discovered for school mornings is
earbuds.
Don't joke. Matt has those.
Yeah, seriously. No, I would just say I think it's actually that routine.
Yeah,
Like I
routine,
said,
yeah,
the
routine,
routine's the best hack. Is just the kids know what to expect, you know what to expect, and you try your best to stick to it.
I would say if you have a spouse, you and your spouse knowing exactly what the other is responsible
that's a
for or
good
supposed
one.
to do
Yeah.
That's a good
makes it a lot easier.
Sometimes I deviate from that.
Dude,
that
and it
doesn't help.
screws it.
Yeah.
I do this. Like I will be like, my wife will be like, "What are you doing? Like, you don't cook eggs in the morning. Why are you trying to be the one who cooks eggs?" And I'm like, I don't know. I thought I'd just help. And like my thought of just helping has
Yeah.
now
You just derailed the entire
it because I'm screaming at a
system.
kid because they're like, you know, whatever.
Or just wait till you get in the shower at the wrong time. Like I've sometimes jumped in the shower at the wrong time.
I used to. So when we had 3 kids, my oldest it'd be like I had to wake up at like 6 a.m. to get into work, whatever, and I'd be in the shower, and he would just sit in the shower when my wife got breakfast ready for the kids, whatever. He would sit in like the bathroom with me and just ask me questions like, "Dad, why do birds sometimes have different colors?" I'd be like, "I don't know, buddy." "Dad, when you turn on the faucet, where does the water come from?" "Somewhere in the city, buddy." And like literally every single
That's funny.
morning for like 2 years straight.
That's
It
really
was
cool.
it was insane, and he still asks the same questions today. He's 17 years old. He doesn't come in the shower, but he still has the same question. I mean, I love
awesome.
it. Love his inquisitive nature, but then there'd be mornings where I'd be like, "Well, I'm not taking a shower." My wife's like, "Well, I need people out of this
Yeah,
area to
right.
do this
Yeah,
thing."
yeah,
And
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
That's a good one. I like that. Emails from the school make me feel like
Absolutely confused.
so confused.
Dude, we have 3 or 4 portals for one school. I'm like, is it Final Forms? Is it Blackboard or Blackbaud?
the
Is
one
it
that
like-
we use,
I
yeah.
have no clue what is going on. Every coach has their own email chain. Every teacher has their own email chain. Then you have admissions officers. You have all these
Yeah.
people. You're like, I don't even know what's happening. I just feel like for as many emails I get and as many like things I'm involved in, school for whatever I feel like I'm drowning.
Yeah,
I just want to call them up and be like, "What do you need from me? Send me a bullet point list, and I will get it back to you."
we had like a parent teacher conference at lunchtime yesterday during our lunch hour, and the first thing they kicked off with was, "We're missing your consent form for this, your sunscreen form for this, your form." They listed out like 5 forms, and I was like, "All my emails are red. I'm pretty on top of it. I
don't
I
know what
don't
I'm
know."
doing, yeah.
She's like, "No, it was actually in the Google Drive."
Yes.
Oh,
Google
yeah,
Classroom.
Google,
like, I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
we did Blackboard for Glass. I'm like, what
Yeah,
are we
yeah,
doing
yeah,
here?
yeah.
I got the link, and I went back to check. I got the link for the Google Classroom 4 minutes before I got on that Zoom
Yeah.
call. I was like, that's why. That's why I
That's
missed
great.
it. What about you guys? You guys have the same?
Yeah, there's a ton of communications, so we usually have to talk to my wife. Like, do you see this one? Do you see that one? Which one do I need to pay attention to?
Yeah.
Because after a while, you start not paying attention to them because they're
Nice.
just.
Well, that's the
There's just a
problem.
lot.
You just don't pay attention, and then you know you're missing
And then
stuff.
you're
Like,
yeah right.
You miss one though, and it's just a snowball effect.
Yeah,
because like
it's-
it will refer back.
We
to
do have like a little bulletin board like right in by our kitchen. So like really important stuff of the teacher, because our teachers usually give like a weekly thing. We try to pin up there so the kids can at least know what's going on.
Now you can see
but-
why I want to homeschool, so I don't have
Yeah,
to
you
deal
could
with
organize all that,
Deal with
yeah.
all of this.
Well, then you get to organize it all.
Yeah.
Like you get to plan their
Yep.
math out, and you get to plan.
I will not. The educator that we
Mary Poppins will
yeah,
come.
Mary
and teach
Poppins.
us.
Exactly. Actually, good idea. Let me see if she's available.
See if
Give me a
she's
second. All right. What about dad interests? What do you guys have?
So this isn't really an interest, but it's just happening right now. So I'd love to
Okay.
get some input from you guys.
Yeah.
My wife was like, well, we found out, of course, we're having a boy. So
Yep.
we have all girls right
Yep.
now. My
Yeah.
wife's like, we need to clear some stuff out.
Yeah.
We're having a garage sale.
Yeah.
So the last week she's been organizing stuff like crazy, pulling out all the stuff that we had saved. And we are, today it's launching. So it's like today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's pretty stressful. Not more on her than me. She's been taking charge on this.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've been moving stuff as been asked and like helping out.
what you
But
can
have you guys done garage sales?
I've not done a garage sale specifically. I've done one of those like flea market type things when I was
Okay.
like younger. Like a bunch of friends had roped me into it. I had this like barber jacket that like I had like outgrown, and
Yeah.
like the short version of the story is like someone in like a bar with like a cigarette butt was walking by me, and like their cigarette butt hit my jacket, And only when I got home did I see that like there was like
Yeah.
this burn mark on the jacket. So I was like, shoot, I can't really get that repaired. So whatever. Someone was like, there's this flea market where you can sell it. Right? It's like a expensive jacket. So I go to this flea market. That was the only thing I wanted to sell.
Yeah.
And all my buddies had like tons of stuff that they were selling. I sat there from 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. No one bought the jacket.
No one bought your cigarette
Did
jacket.
anybody pick it up? They didn't look at
Well, no, people kept well. The issue was I didn't realize this. You meant to sell stuff for cheap. So it's meant to be like
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You're like $375. You're like, it's 5% off
Yeah,
the
yeah.
store price.
You're like, I'll knock off 5 for the cigarette burn. But outside
It
of that,
was. I did list it for 207.
No one even knows how much. Nobody knows what that is.
But the best. The best part of it was people like it's. I mean, it's a nice jacket.
Yeah.
It was hung up, and people would come by. So I probably got hundreds of questions on the jacket, right?
Yeah.
And this is how the conversation went every time. Nice jacket, man. How much? $275. Oh, okay. And they'd get $3 out, and I'd be like, no, $275, and they'd be like, no. And they thought I meant $2.75.
that's hilarious.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the only experience I have with the garage sale. So my wife wanted to do a garage sale forever, and I was always like, "Hunt," and I'd always go back to this one experience we had. Growing up, my parents we only did one garage sale that I can remember, and you know, to your point, there's a ton of prep. I mean, there's like,
Oh, yeah.
you're labeling everything, you're putting little stickers on stuff, you're getting it out. You have a bunch of weirdos walking around like your
yeah.
yard and your garage. And I think like it was like a week of prep, and there was like 2 days of garage sale or something like that. And I think like the total haul for like the garage sale items was like $270 or something like that, which is like you could probably go work
Could've
a
bought
job.
my jacket with that.
You could probably go work a job at like, you know, the convenience store and make more than that for the amount of time put in. But what's even funnier is, you know, typically with garage sales, like the kids of the, you know, the garage selling house will like sell like whatever, lemonade or whatever.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure my sister made more than like my parents made selling like Sam's Club candy, you know, in bulk or
Smart.
something like
Smart.
that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if your kids are doing any sort of like.
They're doing lemonade, and,
Okay,
and then we're
there you
doing
go.
coffee.
Yeah,
They're
coffee,
selling some-
lemonade.
and I
That's
think
all the
they-
margins are. Coffee
Yeah,
and
yeah.
lemonade.
They're doing some cinnamon roll. I think.
Oh man,
yeah,
you're gonna clean up on that.
I hope so. Yeah,
The kids' clothing that you're selling is like a lost leader for
right.
the lemonade.
Exactly.
Lost
Just get to this.
leader.
That's organic lemonade. So
Oh.
put a premium on that bad boy.
Lost leader. Costco over here.
Right.
Get some hot dogs out there too.
Yeah, get
Oh,
some
man.
hot dog
That would
action
be-
going.
If it was like tomorrow, I can help. Right today, I'm working.
You're gonna
all
go out
day.
there and play your
So,
guitar
I
to
should do
lure
that.
people in.
Actually, I should do
Pied
that.
Piper it.
That's a great idea, actually, Andrew. I should do that.
Gary V's
I'll
gonna
just start
come down.
making up some
You got any
songs.
baseball cards, man?
Why don't you do like the old Abercrombie stores where they would have like the models
stand out-
just stand out
Yeah,
there.
and the perfume like wafted
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Just
Dude, I
oiled
would-
up.
I could not go in those stores. I was like, I'd get like
I'd get
an
a headache.
instant headache
I'd get a
going
headache.
into
Oh
an
yeah,
Abercrombie
yeah, I
store.
know.
store.
Yeah,
too.
I was the
Yeah.
same, man.
They were
Plus,
bad.
I was too attractive. They're like, you're not allowed in.
You're not allowed in.
You're
Yeah.
too distracting to the other models.
With your
Whatever.
34-inch waist and your
Yeah.
28-inch legs. That seems like a good place.
Oh,
to
there we
end.
go.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us home, Matt?
Listen, we appreciate you guys listening to us, but we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from dads. And if you're a new dad, if you're an old dad, if you're thinking about or you're wondering what it's like to be a dad, we'd love to hear from you guys. So appreciate you listening. You can find us on all the social channels. Subscribe. That way you'll get notified whenever we release new episodes. And until next time.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.